So I'm in the process of buying my third property. I've got 2 properties at the moment. One's in Northampton, where I'm sitting down right now making this video, and I've had it for 3 years. The second is in Egypt. I've had that almost 2 years. My third property, I'm trying to buy a property around Harlow, Bishop Stortford. That's where I can afford at the moment, and I'm just sticking to my budget. I'm going to speak to a mortgage advisor tomorrow. I'm going to meet him for the first time. Now, prior to this, he said to me, I need to go on Experian.co.uk and get my credit report and send it to him. Now, I was checking the credit report, and to be fair, my credit score wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Yeah? I've never been in debt, never been in the minus. But I think it's because I've never had a credit card to boost up my credit. Yeah? Now, you don't need a credit card to get a mortgage. Yeah? You don't need that level of credit to get a mortgage. Yeah? I've never had a credit card before, and my credit was fine. Yeah, it was enough for me to get a mortgage. Now, obviously, if you get a credit card, as long as you make all the payments on time, then you're going to boost up the credit. Yeah, but make sure if you get a credit card, make sure you can make the payment so you don't default. Yeah? And I was going through my credit report, and it's quite interesting. I've never done it before. You know, never been and looked at my credit report before. And there was a section where it was talking about my mortgage, how long the mortgage is for, 35 years, not 25. Yeah. How long the mortgage is for, and how much I've got left to pay off. Yeah. So I thought to myself, do you know what? This could make a really good video. I could show guys, okay, this is how much I bought the property for. This is how much it's worth now. This is how much I've got left to pay off. And with certain figures that I'm going to put in, it can tell you how much I could pretty much profit off the property, yeah, if I was to sell it today. So there's lots of maths in this video. So if you like numbers, you're going to really enjoy this one. So the asking price of the property 3 years ago was £140,000. I was able to strike a deal with the vendor, and I made an offer of £136,000, and it was accepted. Because it was a residential mortgage, I only had to put down a 10% deposit, which was £13,600. Now let's take a look at my credit report and the summary of my Santander mortgage. Obviously, I've censored out sensitive information. I don't want anyone knowing my government name and my date of birth. So Santander residential mortgage. And the current balance is 116,700, which I will round up to 117,000 just to make it easy. The mortgage is 35 years long, which is 420 months. Each month I have to pay around £427. This was last updated last month, which was the 5th of January 2020. And here are just the payment terms of each month within the last 24 months. So the remaining payments, as I said, is 117,000. That's what's left to pay. So I'm going to go on Zoopla, and I already know how much my property is worth. I'm just going to prove it. So go on to Zoopla. Type in the location of my property, which is Northampton, in the county of Northamptonshire. Minimum price, I set it to 125,000 because I don't want to have too much properties in the search, so I just want to set the filter. Maximum price 160,000. It's a house with 3 bedrooms. I'm just going to scroll through quickly and just prove that my house is pretty much worth £160,000. Could get a bit more, could get a bit less, depends on how much work I decide to do inside, which doesn't mean much. So as you can see, quite a few properties around the same price range. 3-bed terraced house. If it was a detached house, it would be worth a lot more. You see here, this is an auction house, hence why it's so cheap, 125. Auction houses typically need a lot of work doing inside, so it's pretty much a renovations needed. This is why I set the filter to try and avoid mobile park homes, but it doesn't always work. Again, another 3-bed terraced house, 160. Another auction house, which you need to avoid. Again, another auction house. Again, another property, 3-bed terraced house, 160. Another one, 3-bed terraced house, 160. So it's pretty much safe to say that my property is worth 160,000. Yeah. Give or take a few £1,000s. So the value of the property is 160,000. Now, bit of maths. If I took the 160,000, let's say I was able to sell the property for that, and I minused the remaining payments, which were 117,000, I would get £43,000. Let's take into account some other costs, because although I sell the property and generate about £43,000 after sale, there are still some overheads, like legal fees, which come up to about £1,000. Now, I'm just going to calculate how much it would roughly cost for an estate agent to act on my behalf and sell the property for me. Now, let's say the property is worth, and I get £160,000 for this property. Estate agents' fees could range from 0.75 to 3% of the value sold. But it would be safe to say the charge would be about 1.2%, which would be 1,920, which I'll round up to £2,000 just to make it easy. So let's say the estate agent fees are £2,000. So legal fees are 1,000, estate agent fees are 2,000 so far. One other charge is the redemption charge. And basically, if you pay off your mortgage before your term is up, so for example, my term is 35 years, there will be a charge, usually around £3,000. Every property is different, every mortgage lender is different. But for me, it possibly costs about £3,000. So the total overheads, let's say 6,000. So 43,000 minus the 6,000 overheads should leave me with a revenue of 37,000. So remember, the revenue is 37,000. But if we want to get technical, let's minus the deposit that I actually put into the property 3 years ago, which was 13,600. So if we got the revenue and subtracted the deposit, it will be 37,000 minus 13,600, which leaves me with 23,400. So after 3 years of owning my home, I would profit 23,400. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, that's not too much. That's not that much money. Well, question for you guys who think that it's not that much money, after a 3-year period on a property. Question for you. How much money have you saved in the last 3 years? Comment section below, please. Stay wise.